G'day folks, Spackman here. Bloody stoked to be here with you once again, and today we're actually looking at my current day in Legend League. It's been weird and wonderful. I've had an absolute cracker, probably my best offense to date, but strangely enough, I found the same base 3 different times. That's right, guys. So let's have a quick look at the day that was or is. Still technically do have a defense to go, so hopefully that gets missed or it just doesn't happen at all. But as you can see here, the day's been a really solid. There's 4 triples in there, 2 close calls, and 2 others that were decent but weren't going to happen. So plus 271, absolutely brilliant. The previous day, didn't get a single triple. Not a bad day, 208, but was really unhappy not to seal the deal on any of those ones there. And locally, doing pretty well. So was number 1. Obviously, there were a couple of defenses at play, seeing how things go. And I think old mate Mario from my old clan, True Blue, had a couple of hits or 1 or 2 hits still left to go. But let's have a look at these attacks. We're only going to show 3 attacks, and we're going to show you 3 attacks on the exact same base. So this was the first one. And this one here, I knew how to hit this base because I've hit it before, but I didn't really have the proper plan in my head. Hence, as you can see, there's a bit of a preamble to the attack as we're trying to figure out exactly what we want to do and how we want to do it. But I did know that the idea is to suicide the heroes with the ice golem there into the clan castle, but firstly testing to see what it is. Often, if it's a hound and I can lure it simply enough, I'll just try and drag it away with an archer or something and call it a day at that, and then get the heroes to do their business and ignore the hound for the rest of the raid. But we've lured the clan castle, we drop the poison, drop the king, drop the queen, the ice golem, of course, and just basically let all those get to work and do what they're going to do. Use the king's ability, then the queen sort of takes care of everything else. I dropped the ice golem because the queen was causing a little bit of trouble there. So the ice golem's there to help get that queen down. And once our queen finally gets through the skeletons, the Tesla, deals with the clan at the town hall, and then we get onto the blimp and the Electrone part of the hit. And in every single one of these, you see I come in the exact same way. It feels like a natural fit to me. And that is to have the blimp land on this sort of air defense right in the middle here. So we drop 3 loons there on that archer tower on the right-hand side, then drop the blimp in and rage and clone right on top of it and just sort of wreak havoc in the area nearby. And sort of let that do its business. Then straight after that, we're into the Lalo, coming through this right-hand side. Freeze that first Inferno tower, haste through the area. I did miss the air defense, but wasn't really a problem. And I drop a few loons up top. This base is, there are a couple slight differences between these bases. This one here doesn't have a cannon out to the right. You'll notice the other 2 do, and that does cause me some problems. So I have 2 freezes with this spell army arrangement. I don't use the second one on the middle Inferno, as we use the Warden's ability Eternal Tomb through that, and the second freeze instead gets used on the final Inferno, and once that's frozen, we then haste through that area. And a really comfortable triple here, actually the most comfortable of the lot, despite the fact that I should have been more practiced in the other 2. Anyway, let's skip on through these, and at the very next hit, I couldn't believe it. I found basically the exact same base. Now I'll open it up here, but you'll see I didn't triple. I wasn't gutted, but I was just disappointed in myself. How do I find the same base? As I mentioned, this one has a cannon out to the right-hand side, but how do I find the same base and then not triple it? And afterwards, I looked back at the 2 replays, and I did figure out effectively where I went wrong with it. So we start off the same, dropping all the wall breakers. I wasn't sure at first if I lured everything, so I was having a little bit of a little bit of a gander, a little bit of a geese to try and figure out what was there. Poison the area, get the queen properly this time. And I dropped the king first, then the ice golem, then use the king's ability. This gives the ice golem a bit of extra life and actually helps sort of protect the queen a little bit longer. And as a result, I can get through this town hall without needing to use the queen's ability. So in this, the Sui actually got a lot more value than the previous hit. But because the Lalo was just incredibly poor, I don't actually really get the triple done. As you can see, the exact same start. We're dropping the 3 loons, we drop the blimp, we rage, we clone, take out that same area, all done, begin the Lalo. But we have a number of loons being distracted on the right-hand side over here on that cannon. And as a result, the pathing is a little bit weird. And they don't kind of bunch up as neatly as I did in the previous hit. There is a slightly different layout. However, and I dropped some loons up top here on the wizard, warden and the archer tower. I realised I should have dumped them all right at the beginning and having them all come in together on that central multi-inferno on the eagle, and then use the sheer power of the mass loons to overwhelm the rest of the base. I didn't do that, and in the end, I was just disappointed with it. Didn't quite get the job done. But I realised through this what I needed to do in terms of where I needed to place my freezers, where I needed to drop the loons in order to improve. Ironically, in the final hit, I do still forget about that cannon on the right-hand side, which I should just drop with a single loon. But we'll see that coming up. And it does have a tiny bit of a difference in that, I don't need to speed it up, what am I doing there? In that the sweepers are of course facing each other rather than facing the town hall as they were in the previous attacks. But that's not really a worry. I decided to go with the attack strategy anyway, as I'm pretty confident that the result will still net me the triple, which it does. So once again, the king down, the wall breakers to lure the clan castle, the king down, the poison down, the ice golem down, drop the queen, clear all that up, and then the queen ends up taking down the town hall and does a fantastic job there. And then, would you believe it, 3 loons on the archer tower and the blimp coming in right at this air defense over here. What a surprise. And this hit is it is still not as cozy as that first victory, and I'm not quite sure why. I think it's there are a couple small variations in where the defenses are, so the pathing is slightly different. But in the end, I was a lot smarter, as you can see in just a second, in my loon placement to get this done. And I was thinking for a second the sweeper in the middle there might cause me some problems, but in the end, I still get the same value as I did in the previous hit with my loons, with the Electro Dragon. Leave that up, don't worry about the Electro Dragon anymore. And I'm dumping all of my loons here on all of the defenses around this sort of area. Drop some final ones on the wizard tower here, and as you can see from the pathing, everything is going to come into the wizard tower, the ward and the wizard tower, the air defense, and right inside, centrally into this here multi-inferno. Warden ability, quake that to weaken the defenses there. I should have I've used a haste earlier in this replay than I did in the other one, so that's why it wasn't as close as it could have been. Haste there. I used a freeze, and a really good freeze actually, on the multi-inferno there and that sweeper to hold them both off, as that was relatively a freeze that needed to be quite precise. But in the end, coming home with the triple once again, was really happy with this. I didn't want to fail a second hit on the base I'd already tripled. So hopefully I find this base 8 times tomorrow, because I want to keep climbing up. I'm about 1,200 in the world at the moment, but I mean, I don't plan on being a top 200 player. We'll see how things go. But if I can manage to keep up this sort of offense, 260 to 280, I'll be bloody wrapped with that. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. Please do like the video, subscribe. If you've got any people that want to check out some Electrone attacks, do show them this by all means. Anyway, we'll see you guys later.